The Galactic Council's transmission had been broadcast across 17 star systems, reaching every civilized species within 300 light-years. The message was simple, direct, and absolutely final. Cease all expansion beyond your designated territories. Any species that violates the boundary accords will face immediate and total annihilation. For most civilizations, this was enough. The Zephyrians recalled their mining fleets from the asteroid belts. The crystalline Vorthak dismantled their forward observation posts. Even the militaristic Krell pulled back their war machines to their home systems. Everyone got the message. Everyone except the humans. Commander Zixthala of the Council Enforcement Fleet watched the tactical display with growing disbelief. Where every other species had shown immediate compliance, the human expansion markers continued to spread like a virus across the star map. Not only were they ignoring the ultimatum, but their rate of colonization had actually increased. Perhaps their communication systems are primitive, suggested her tactical officer Vexnor. Many species require multiple transmission attempts before. We've sent the message 47 times across every frequency they use, Zixthala interrupted, her mandibles clicking in frustration. They're receiving it. Their response was, she paused to check her data pad, a transmission containing mathematical sequences, audio recordings of something called music, and images of their biological offspring. Vexnor's compound eyes widened. They sent baby pictures. The analysis team believes it was meant as a cultural exchange. Zixthala's voice dripped with contempt. These creatures are either the most arrogant species in the galaxy, or the most stupid. What the Council didn't understand was that the humans had received their message perfectly. They decoded it, translated it, and filed it away in the archives of the United Earth Colonial Administration. The problem wasn't communication, it was interpretation. Director Sarah Chen stood before the Colonial Senate, addressing the emergency session that had been called to discuss the alien ultimatum. Her weathered face bore the expression of someone who had seen too many impossible challenges already. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, we've received what appears to be a territorial claim from an unknown alien confederation. They're demanding we cease our expansion beyond what they call designated territories. Senator Williams from the Mars colony raised his hand. What designated territories? We never agreed to any boundaries with these, whoever they are. That's precisely the point, Chen replied. They're operating under the assumption that we've already accepted their authority. But Earth's position has always been clear. Humanity will not be caged. The vote was unanimous, not because the senators were warmongers, but because the concept of accepting arbitrary limitations from an unknown entity was fundamentally contrary to everything that had driven humanity to the stars. They had left Earth not to be contained elsewhere, but to be free. The Colonial Senate's response was typically human in its directness. We acknowledge receipt of your message. However, humanity recognizes no authority to restrict our peaceful expansion into uninhabited systems. We invite you to establish diplomatic relations through proper channels. Attached, please find information about our species and culture. When this response reached the Galactic Council 3 months later, the chamber erupted in chaos. They're mocking us, roared General Krextar, his battle-scarred hide bristling with rage. No species has ever dared. Silence! The ancient arbitrator's mental voice cut through the uproar like a psychic blade. For 3,000 years she had guided the council, and never had she encountered such brazen defiance. Deploy the fleet. Make an example of these humans. Their homeworld will serve as a reminder to others who might consider challenging our authority. The council's first fleet was a sight that had brought entire civilizations to their knees. 500 ships, each the size of a small moon powered by technology that could crack planets. It was overwhelming force personified, designed not just to destroy but to terrorize. Admiral Elena Vasquez received the alert while her small patrol fleet was investigating unusual energy readings in the outer rim. 50 ships against 500. The odds were mathematically impossible. Her communications officer looked pale as he reported the incoming transmission. Admiral, the alien fleet is broadcasting on all frequencies. They're giving us one final chance to surrender. Vasquez smiled grimly. Throughout human history, someone had always said the odds were impossible. The Greeks at Thermopylae, the RAF during the Battle of Britain, the colonists at Lexington and Concord. But humans had a funny relationship with impossible odds. They made them personal. "Open a channel to the entire fleet," she ordered, "and patch it through to Earth Command." Her message was brief, and it carried across space to reach every human colony, every ship, every outpost. "This is Admiral Vasquez of the Colonial Defense Fleet. We've encountered a hostile alien force that demands our surrender and threatens our worlds. They seem to have mistaken us for a species that yields to threats. Today we're going to correct that misunderstanding." What followed would be studied in military academies for generations. The humans didn't try to match the aliens' overwhelming technological superiority. Instead, they did what humans had always done when facing superior forces. They improvised, adapted, and refused to accept defeat. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it was over, the Council's invincible First Fleet was scattered wreckage floating in space. Not because human weapons were superior, but because human tactics were unpredictable. They used their own ships as weapons, converted cargo haulers into kinetic missiles, and turned mining charges into spaceborne explosives. But the real message wasn't sent during the battle. It was sent afterward. Instead of celebrating their victory or demanding surrender, the humans did something that had never occurred to the Council. They rescued the survivors. Every escape pod, every damaged ship, every wounded alien was brought aboard human vessels and given medical treatment. Admiral Vasquez personally oversaw the medical facilities where Council survivors were being treated. She found the enemy commander, Zixthala, in the recovery ward, her injuries healing under human medical care. "Why?" the alien commander asked her universal translator, struggling with the concept. "You defeated us utterly. By all military doctrine, you should have finished us." Vasquez pulled up a chair beside the medical bed. "That's the message you really needed to get," she said quietly. "We didn't fight you because we hate you. We fought because you threatened our freedom. Now that the threat is over, you're not our enemies. You're survivors who need help." The Admiral gestured to the ward around them, where human medics worked alongside alien patients without discrimination. "This is what humanity is. We won't be caged, we won't be conquered, and we won't surrender our right to exist freely in this galaxy. But we also won't become the monsters we fought against." As Zixthala processed this, she realized that the Council had made a fundamental error. They had assumed humans were like every other species, that they could be controlled through force or intimidation. They never considered that they might encounter a species that valued freedom more than security, that would rather die fighting than live in chains. The message humans sent wasn't transmitted through space, it was demonstrated through action. And unlike the Council's ultimatum, it was one that could never be ignored or misinterpreted. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy, and the galaxy would never be the same.